Okay, so maybe you know, maybe you don't know. If you haven't heard about Dimash, um, he's awesome. And instead of using chest voice and bringing it up, he is adding like and bringing it up and like looking for head resonance. He's instead adding chest voice to his head voice, which is really interesting. So he would never like he's not reaching for the usual chest voice that we know. Instead, he is going for head voice and then powering it, and that would be his chest voice, which means that it's tensionless and it can go. You can just bring it up as high as you can, as high as he can, which would be endlessly high. So that's one voice, and that's the goal for everyone. Um, to have like your whole voice connected in one, and that just happens through head voice, and then you just decide whether to add chest voice to it or not, instead of being like constantly in chest voice, which you can't really go high, you can't really bring it high. It just happens to like be limited. Like you start bringing chest voice up and then you hit a wall and you can't go higher. What is that? And that's like the the chest voice that we all know, but it's not the chest voice that Dimash is using, because his is placed within a head voice and he can just go up and sing in it without cracks, breaks, or and it's effortless because it is easy. Um, the only thing you have to do is just power it, which would be through breath support. And actually, high notes need less air, while low notes need more air. So, um, you would, which is like contrary to popular belief, but low notes are harder than high notes, exactly because they require more from the singer, and that is tensionless notes, which are connected with the rest of the range because they're like buffered with all this air and proper placement. So let's actually watch this. This is Opera 2 by Dimash.
Дом достроен, но я в нем один.
This is so beautiful because he starts slow and you can hear the chest voice, and as he goes up, it already sounds like he's already mixing, which he is. His whole voice is a mix. And by the way, someone asked, why does it feel otherwise? Like, why are low notes easier? It depends. Like, if you're using your usual chest voice, which is not connected with the upper notes, like if you start in your usual, let's say, speaking voice and you try to bring it up and you hit a high wall, you're relying on tension and you're not actually supporting this low rumble, this low depth. But if you can bring it high and not have like, if you feel it connected, not have any breaks, if you do like, if you add all this deep rumble within head voice, it requires more work, exactly because this depth needs more support. The deeper, the more supported you need to be. So the more chest resonance you're adding through twang, the more air you're gonna have to use, and you have to be very precise about it, because if you use too much, I mean, that's not good either.
Хлопнула дверь за спиной. Ветер осенний стучится в окно, плачет опять надо мной.
So he's making it slightly breathy, like he's telling a story, and he's also over exaggerating the consonants, so that's very beautiful. And like we talked, he's constantly in his mix. It's not which makes groove from head voice or falsetto. We can call it whatever we want. Um, yeah.
Ночью гроза, а на утро туман. Солнце остыло совсем. Давние боли идут чередой. Пусть собираются все.
Okay, wait. So look at how close his mic is. So this isn't that loud actually. Um, he's like it's. I mean, yeah, it's easy for him, of course. But this is usually in the beginning. It might be quiet for you, and you might be quiet with it, but with time, like when using your resonators and getting more efficient. So when you get that nasal resonance, when you create space in the back, which would be lowering your larynx, you'd sound louder with less. And adding that twang, which is focusing the sound and your airflow even more, helps with making things even more efficient. And that's how you can get super loud. But right now, he's not that loud. At least I think so. And you can constantly hear his nasal resonance, which is a great way to protect your voice and also blend seamlessly all registers. We could call it that. It just helps with everything. So he's also bobbing his head like that. I guess it's a when you're this advanced, you can just do anything. So for him, he could be doing it with this, but he could also be actually doing it with vibrato, or he could be over exaggerating both, like by using both the vibrato like at the same time. Um, which is it's just when you're we don't want as beginners to be doing this. This is like once you have everything nailed down, you can start breaking rules, and he's just doing that. I think he also broke another rule. Let me hear it. On the second time, he slides up to the note, so he's scooping it instead of uh, starting right on the note, which also creates like the kind of style. It's pretty often, yet in the beginning as beginners, we don't want to be doing that because um, exactly because you're getting this habit of starting lower, and you could go off key really easily, and just having it just working on starting right on the note, and then once you get that, you get advanced, you will start breaking rules, which he will do, like he's doing. No, it was before that. Let's go back.
Чередой. Пусть собираются все.
That. We don't see the mic here, but he also starts lighter and then commits to the sound. That's a really good way to test the waters, like before you commit to a huge sound. And also, um, it could be the mic in this case, but we don't see it. Like it could be him like just doing that slowly, but we can do that with our voice, and it just adds on top of the all like the emotions and effects.
судьба, а судьбу не могу.
Russian is a pretty hard language, so you have to, even if you don't want to, we have to exaggerate the consonants. That's just what Russian sounds like. But when we have um, English words and just singing in English, we have to think about over exaggerating some vowels because if we just slur them, like who's gonna understand what we're saying? So that's very important. And also, not only that, the consonants and the vowels, that's what I meant. The consonants are really exaggerated in Russian, but along with the vowels. And in English, they're not always clear. Like the vowels aren't clear. The consonants are sometimes slurred, even. And we have to work on not doing that when singing so that we are really understandable. And it may sound like you have a hard accent, but this is the actual way that you would sing it with your singing voice instead of the usual talking habits that we have. We have to modify, and sometimes we have to change vowels to make them easier for us, and they would still sound like the vowels that we're aiming for. So it's just a lot of work from if you're singing Russian or English. So he's doing a great job. Like I haven't seen him sing in English, so I would definitely have to see that. But here it's brilliant.
Я не хочу простить, только я знаю, как после меня станут ветра гласить.
Yes, we saw the mic. So he's first quiet and silent and then commits to the sound. That is beautiful. He knows what he's doing. He knows. Okay. Okay. Um, First of all, like these high notes, they grow. They start small, like we talked, but they start at like super tiny. You could call it flageolet, but with time, you'll be able to make it stronger and make it, of course, more resonant once you open and all these things. But in the beginning, we can't really open because we might have tension. So we have to work on alleviating the tension and not opening. So the best way to start with flageolet is the whoo. So which is like you make your lips as if you were to whistle with your lips, and but you make a sound. So it's whoo, like this, and the high notes have to be super tiny and squeaky before you try to do this because or else you could hurt yourself. You might have tension, so you have to work on alleviating that. Um, and also now he did staccatos, so let's hear them again. But staccatos are really tricky, and I'll explain that in a second. So you hear there's no uh there's no glottals. He's just it's there's no glottals. It's a clean sound. The onset, like the way the sound starts, is clean. There's nothing in there that suggests he's closing his folds, and that is it. He's not doing that. So when we're doing staccatos, like a lot of staccatos at the same time, we we could do a glottals for stylistic effect. For example, if it's an angry song, um, yeah, pretty angry song, and you're belting, and you're like, oh, I'm so done with this. You wanna, you could do glottal onsets, all of these things. But here, it's a lovely song. So it's a nice song. So we don't need this harshness. And of course, yeah, he's doing it so beautifully. So to make it beautiful, we remove the glottals, and we have to um, make it light on our folds, because if we're glottaling um, constantly, that's fatiguing for the voice. So that said, he's keeping his folds open, like this passage here. He's not closing it like that. He's instead making it open, and the thing he does is he's just adding air. Look, he's just pushing more air for to make the note. He's on the right spot, like he has it exactly where he needs it to be, and then he that's very precise work. So you have to really know your voice to be able to do that. So he's giving air, and that makes the note instead of working like creating here and just pushing air and just stopping the air with a glottal, which is also creating subglottal pressure, which is just it's more fatiguing for the voice. So yeah, he's doing it right. He's absolutely right. Beautiful technique, even for the vibrato, like for the staccatos, which is super cool. Does he go higher? He does. So look how close the mic is. So the higher we go, the closer we get to flageolet, which we need to be for it to be quiet. The higher we go, the quieter we have to get in order to transition to flageolet. So even this sounds super loud, but he's really close to the mic. So he's actually not that loud. And he's being super efficient. If he makes it loud, you don't have to be that loud. Like he's getting this sound without having to be loud. So this is like true vocal mastery, not having to be loud. And actually, the best, he's not belting, but the best belters are quiet. So it's not just the belting; it's the whole voice. You don't need to be loud to do big things. And except for opera, when you don't have a microphone, you have to make the whole hall resonate with your voice. That's different. But here, we don't need that. There's no need for this technique. He has a microphone, and these notes are actually quiet. And he's just once you open and once you add the nasal resonance, that makes it more loud than it actually is. So it's not the loudness doesn't come from the folds. It comes from what we're doing with the sound afterwards, which is nasal resonance and then opening. This is wide open. Beautiful. I'm eager to bet he can actually go higher, but he's like, nah, let's not do it. But I bet he can. And we think that like this is super high. So we think that this is like kind of borderline whistle, but actually all these singers like Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande are actually like that are said to be using whistle. They're not using whistle. They're using flageolet, which is connected to the rest of your voice. There's no break, and it's whistle is just not efficient, while flageolet is, and you can connect it. Like let's say your whistle range starts after we someone told me he's doing F sharp 6 in head voice. That is not head voice. He's blended his head voice with flageolet. So you can, it feels like head voice, but there's a break in the beginning. You have a break between your head voice and your flageolet. And with time, you're blended too. And in the beginning, flageolet has to be super quiet. Um, and the moment you make it loud, you could bring in head voice. You could do that. It could be an F sharp 6 head voice, but like look at where the mic is. I don't think he is. And there's no need to particularly make it loud because this is a great sound. Like why would you want what else? Like it's so beautiful already. You don't need more, which is already really good. And the quieter you are up there, it's easier. So it's actually going to be easier for him. And we're not complaining, like it's super beautiful. So it doesn't have to be head voice up there, and he's not doing it. So it's super good, super efficient, doesn't have to be loud at all, and it isn't. Just making it resonate. So he could go higher, but he would have to switch to an even lighter place. Like he has to be even more quiet in order to transition. Like the higher we go, the more quiet we have to get. So he could transition to that. I would love to hear him sing higher, like so we hear if his flageolet and whistle ranges have connected to each other. Because let's say for me, I started out with flageolet up till um, I think it was exactly F sharp 6, but then I had a break of a few notes, and then I went to whistle. But the more I did whistle and flageolet back to back, the more they blended together, and I lost the break. And now it's and my whistle stopped sounding like a whistle. It started sounding like my flageolet. So they basically blended. So I'm really wondering if his flageolet extends into the whistle range like a flageolet, or if he has to switch. I would love to know that, but I'm eager to bet he's blended them. Like he's so good. I would be surprised if they're not blended. He's working so hard for this. Like yeah, and it's so good. And he knows what he's doing. He's smiling. He's having fun on the stage. That's what we want. Like, and it's so easy for him. That's what happens with a ton of practice. But you have to practice in the right way. And singing head voice and then making grow is the best thing you can do. It grows, even if it sounds so bad in the beginning. Even if it sounds like a dying cat, it's fine. We all started there. It's totally fine. Have to learn how to add more power through the larynx, the twang, breath support, the nasal, like making it resonant. All these things are very important. And of course, getting rid of the tension so that it's actually super easy. And that's why it is. Tension is the biggest factor in like problems in singing, and that's why when we try to bring chest voice up, we hit this wall of tension. Our larynx raises, everything here becomes rigid, and what is going on, including our jaw and everything. So, and head voice doesn't have that, or if it does, it's more easily solvable. It takes less work. So he's done an amazing job. Like his teachers are brilliant, and he's brilliant for working so hard. I would love to hear him going higher if they're blended. If his flash language are blended, that would be insane. So if you could please send that to me, I will watch it. That would be awesome.